Graphing Manually from Standard Form by Josie, Patrick, Miranda, and Abby. What is standard form? Standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is the equation that we'll be using out throughout the whole video. Step 1. In order to be able to graph an equation, you must first find the values of a, b, and c. This is a, this is b, and this is c. Step 2. Next, in order to be able to graph an equation, you must find the y-intercept. This tells you where the graph will be. The y-intercept of this equation is 61. Step 3. This is a very important step to graphing an equation because this tells you exactly where the vertex will be. The equation for the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. For this equation, b equals 16 and a equals 1, and the opposite of b is negative 16, and 2 times 1, which is a, is 2, and negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8, so negative 8 is the axis of symmetry. You graph the axis of symmetry with a dotted line just to show where your x value will be, because it will always be somewhere on this dotted line. Step 4. This is definitely the most important part of graphing, because this will tell you exactly where the maximum or minimum of the graph will be of your parabola. And in order to find the vertex, you must first have the axis of symmetry, which we did last. Since the axis of symmetry is negative 8, and the axis of symmetry is also x, you plug in negative 8 for x in the equation, and the final equation ends up being y equals negative 8 squared plus 16 times negative 8 plus 61. When you solve this equation, you get y equals negative 3. And since you already had the x value, the vertex is negative 8, negative 3. Step 5. Now, you can graph the y-intercept and the vertex because you have both of them. Here, since the y-intercept is 61, it doesn't fit on the graph, but the vertex is graphed here. Negative 8, negative 3. Where's step 6? Step 6. Next, in order to graph your parabola, you must make an over-up chart. In order to do this, you take 1 and square it, and 1 squared is 1, so over would be 1 and up would be 1. Then you take 2 and square it, and 2 squared is 4, so over would be 2 and up would be 4. And you continue doing this till you have all the points, going 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Here you can see that we've graphed our vertex, and we have gone over 1 and up 1 for our first point, and over 2, up 4 for our second point. Since it's symmetrical, all you have to do is go over negative 1 and up 1 for the points over here, and over negative 2, and then up 4 to find our point here. This is a second equation that will show you how to graph. Instead of a equaling 1 here, a equals 4, b equals negative 8, and c equals 5. Now we have to find the axis of symmetry for this equation. Since b is negative 8, you find the opposite of that, which is 8. Then you find a, which is 4, and multiply that by 2. Since 8 over 8 is equivalent to 1, the axis of symmetry is 1. Now, since you have x, also the axis of symmetry, it's 1, so you plug that in and get y equals 4 times 1 squared minus 8 times 1 plus 5. When you finally solve this equation, you find that y equals 1. Since now we have x and y, our vertex is 1, 1. Now you must do an over-up chart. And this is different because instead of just plugging in x and squaring it, you have to plug in x and square it and then multiply it by 4. Since 1 squared is 1, times 4 is 4, over would be 1, and up would be 4. Since 2 squared is 4, times 4 is 16, over would be 2, and up would be 16. Here we have our final parabola, and you can see that we went 1, 1 for our vertex, 1, 4 for our second point here, and 2, and we continued up to 16 there. And you can do the same thing by going negative 1, 4, and negative 2, 16. Thanks for watching our video.